Welcome to my presentation on frequency counts as an observational tool. Like the name suggests, a frequency count is a systematic method of measuring how often an event occurs. A frequency count has multiple purposes. It's often used to measure both prosocial and antisocial behavior on a particular child or of a whole class. In this example, the teacher is looking for such behaviors for an entire class. She notes the type of behavior she is looking for by listing them at the top. Earlier in the semester, we discussed the constant casual observing that teachers do, if for no other reason than to make sure the children are safe. Let's not confuse that with formal observations that are used for analysis and instruction. So let's suppose in your casual observations you notice a lot of harsh words, aggressive talk, and general antisocial behaviors. You can turn your casual monitoring into a formal observation with a frequency count. Then use the data to plan and implement intentional teaching on things like basic manners, friendship skills. After a period of time, observe the children again to see some improvement, hopefully. It's worth it to note that you don't want to test the children on such instruction. You don't want to ask them, what's a nice way to talk to your friend? They'll answer you correctly. What you want to do is observe them in their natural habitat throughout the day as they play and work in centers. That's authentic assessment. You want to observe them and take a frequency count in their natural habitat. In the example on the left, the teacher is looking for very specific negative behaviors and only for one child with whom there seems to be a problem. This type of data will be shared with parents and then used to develop a behavior modification plan for the child. Frequency counts like this are almost always used to address negative behaviors, but they can be used for good behaviors as well. Completely unrelated, the frequency count on the right is being used to track volleyball players' statistics. And yet another use is to track the amount of use various pieces of playground equipment are being used. This data could be used to make a case for purchasing additional playground equipment. Just like Lucy's negative behavior and Renee's volleyball performance, this playground frequency count is something you'd want to do daily for a period of time to get enough data to make an adequate analysis. Doing a frequency count once isn't enough. Remember that when you put this into practice for your practicum. Frequency counts are often used to look at a child's emotional development, things like temperament. And emotions. Sadly, the numbers of children growing up in less than stable homes and with increasing aggression often display that aggression themselves. With this pyramid of aggression, you can easily create a frequency count chart to formally observe the child and get hard data on just how aggressive the child is or isn't. Then, once that data is shared with the parents, a plan can be put into place to help minimize that aggression. As with all formal observations, they should be collected until you have enough to make some sound analysis. But don't stop there. Observations should be used to plan instruction and measure growth. To recap, frequency counts are used to collect data on how often an event occurs. One advantage is that it's quick to record since there are no details, just tallies. It gives the teacher a quantitative measurement on which she can plan for intentional instruction and measure progress. That same feature that's an advantage can also be viewed as a disadvantage, though. Since there are no details, just some basic raw data, it could be looked at as a disadvantage. Frequency counts are very selective, only looking at a few behaviors at a time. Thanks for listening.